We continue now on the top of Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis in Maseches Brachos. This is Berachos Daf 37b. The Gemara just finished saying that the bracha achrona that you make on rice, it may depend on the opinions of Rabbi Gamliel and the Chachamim. According to Rabbi Gamliel, the Gemara is going to want to show from this brisa that the bracha is going to be an ala michya after rice, and according to the Chachamim, the bracha is going to be a bar nefasha. So this is a continuation of this brisa here. So this is Rabbi Yehuda quoting the Machlokas from Rabbi Gamliel and the Chacham as follows: anything from the 7 species of fruit of Eretz Yisrael, velo min dagon, which is not grain, o min dagon, or if it is a species of grain, velo aso pas, but it was not made into bread. Rabbi Gamliel omer shalosh brachos. Rabbi Gamliel says 3 brachos. The Chachamim omer bracha achas, and the Chachamim say you just say 1 bracha. You just say a bracha me'ein shalosh. And now Rabbi Yehuda is continuing in his version of the Machlokas Rabbi Gamliel and the Chachamim as follows: Kol she'eno lo mishivas haminim v'lo min dagan. If it is something not from the 7 species and not made out of grain, could go and pas orez v'dochen, like when it comes to bread of rice and millet. Rabbi Gamliel omer bracha achas me'ein shalosh. Rabbi Gamliel says you say 1 bracha me'ein shalosh like an ala michya. V'chacham omer v'lo klum. The Chacham say you don't say that, you say nothing, which again we said before really means you say a bar nefashos. So right now the Gemara is saying in terms of the contradiction between the brises before, on the previous Amud, one brise is Rabbi Gamliel who says you make a me'ein shalosh, and the other brise is the Chachamim and they say you make a bar nefashos. But the Gemara says 1 second. How can you say that the brise which says to say ala michya on rice is Rabbi Gamliel? How could you say that? Look at the end of the first part of that very same brise. It says, Imein haprusos kayamos, if you have bread that you cook and the pieces are no longer intact, it says you make a mezonos, and then at the end you make a me'ein shalosh at the end, as an ala michya. So the problem is, money, who is the author of that? If you're going to say it's Rabbi Gamliel, which is what you're contesting right now, hashta akosavos va'adaisa. Now, Rabbi Gamliel said on dates and on daisa, Amar Rabbi Gamliel, gimel brachos, Rabbi Gamliel said you say a full benching. So if we're going to talk about actual, real bread, even if you cook it after, certainly you should still say a benching. It's certainly better than kosavos and daisa. So elapshita rabbanan. So it must be obvious that brisa is the rabbanan, but ihachikasha the rabbanan. But now we've got a straight up contradiction between the rabbanan. In one place the rabbanan say that you should say al hamichya on rice, and in the other one it's a bar nefashos. So the Gemara answers in conclusion, elaliolam rabbanan. Really, it is the rabbanan. V'tani gabe orez ulavasof enu mavarich olav v'lo kol. You have to change the text of that brisa. It really means that on rice you do not say any bracha, i.e., you say a bar nefashos on rice. You don't say al hamichya. Gemara now continues here at the 2 dots. Amar Rava says, Hi Riyata de Chakloi. So what's Riyata de Chakloi? Rashi says the first of all Chakloi is the villagers. Riyata is Chavetz Kedera. Chavetz Kedera was something we mentioned before. Chavetz Kedera is a mixture of flour, honey, and oil. So you have this flour, honey, and oil that's kind of cooked together, and then the one that's made from the villagers, the mafshi beikimcha, they put in a lot of flour. Mevorech borim and mezonos, you make a mezonos. My time, what's the reason? The smida ikar, because the flour is the main thing. However, the mechuza, when it comes to the same food item from mechuza, the lo mafshi beikimcha, they did not put in a lot of flour. Mevorech olav shakol niyabidvaro, you make a shakol. My time, what's the reason? Duv sheikar, because the honey is the main thing. So according to this, the Gemara seems to be saying, according to Rava, that if the main thing is honey, even in a mixture that contains mezonos, if the main thing is the honey, you say shahakal. But then Rava changed his mind and said, Idi v'idi borim and mezonos. Really, on both of them you say mezonos. The Rav Shmuel the Amri Tarvayu kol sheyesh bo mechamesh haminim mevorchin alav borim and mezonos. Rav and Shmuel both said that anything that has the 5 species of grains mixed into it, even if it's not the main thing, the rule is it always gets a mezonos. That's the same Rav and Shmuel that we quoted before. Amar Rav Yosef says, Hai chavitza the ispe perurin kazayas. Rashi says a chavitza is a kind of fried, basically here we're seeing that it's like a breadcrumbs, it's like fried bread. So if it has in it these pieces that are kazayas big, betchilu mevarich olav hamotzi lechem min haaretz, ulevasof mevarich olav shalosh brachos. Then you make a hamotzi and you make a full benching. However, the lesbe perurin kazayas, but if the pieces of bread are not a kazayas big, so then they're not considered significant. And betchilu mevarich olav borim min mezonos. In the beginning you make a mezonos, ulevasof bracha achas mein shalosh, and then at the end you just make an al hamichya. Amar Rav Yosef says, where do we have a source for this? The Tanya we learned in a brayso, Haya Omed Umakriv Menachos B'Yerushalayim. If somebody's bringing carbon mincha in Yerushalayim, Omer Baruch Shechayanu v'kimonu v'girnu l'zman hazeh. He says a brach of Shechayanu. Natzalon la'achlan, and he takes it to eat it. Mevarech hamotzi lechem min haaretz. He makes a hamotzi. V'tani Allah v'kulon posam kazayis. And the brisa on that says that it is the pieces are as large as a kazayas. So it seems to be implying pretty directly that if the pieces are a kazayas large, that makes it choshev enough to get a hamotzi. So Amarle Abaye, so Abaye said Elameata, but according to that, Latana Devei Rabbi Shmuel Damar Porchan Ad Shemachzirun Lasultan, he said that the same carbon minchas, what you would do is you would crush it up until it basically becomes almost fine like flour. Hachanami Deloboy Bruch Hamotzi Lechem Arts. It would seem that according to that opinion of the Tana Devei Rabbi Shmuel, you would not make hamotzi. V'chitema hachinami, and if you're going to say, yeah, that's true, and we'll be consistent, and that will not get a hamotzi v'atanya, but there's a brisa which says, Lakat mikulan kazayis, if you collect from these, according to the Tana Devei Rabbi Shmuel, these very small, fine flour-like pieces, you collect a kazayis worth. V'yachlan and eat them im chametzu anish karis. If it's chametz, you get a punishment of karis. You ate a kazayis of chametz on Pesach. V'matzahu, and if you're eating it as matzah, it's not chametz. Adam yotze b'yedei chovah. So b'Pesach, you'd have eaten a kazayis of good matzah, and you're yotze your chiyuv. Now the implication of that is, if this is considered full-fledged bread, then it certainly should also get a hamotzi, especially if you're being yotze the mitzvah of matzah. So the Gemara says, Hacha b'mayaskinim b'sha'arsan. Now in that scenario, the brisa where we're saying you're yotze the mitzvah of matzah, and also assuming you would also make hamotzi as well, it's b'sha'arsan. And Rashi explains what's arsan. Keshachavar v'gavlon yachad. You basically need all of that stuff back together, v'chazar up and rebake it. You're baking it again, so you're making almost like a new bread. In that situation, it would indeed turn into real bread and you make hamotzi. But in a normal situation, you're just eating the stuff that's less than a kazayis, it's not chashav enough to make hamotzi. But the Gemara says, if that's the case, look at the end of that same brisa. It says, pras. You have to eat them within the time span of an achilas pras. So now if it was arson, you've made this into one item from many items. It's not one thing. You should use the singular she'arso, not she'arson. So you should use the singular she'achlon, not she'achlo. So you should use the singular of she'achlo and not she'achlon. So it would seem to be not that case. The Gemara finally says you're right. It'll give a totally different answer. It's not bisha arson. You're not remaking it into one item. Rather, you're having these pieces that are coming from a larger item that is still intact. And even if you have these small pieces that are less than a kazayas, if they come from a larger piece of bread, you would still make a hamotzi. Just on the issue of what is a kedei achilas pras, Rashi explains here. Achlan b'chdei achilas pras shelo yishem mishehizkel lechol shir kazayis ad shegamar achilas hashir yozer michdei achilas chatzi kikor shel shmona beitzim. The amount of time you have to eat a kazayis for it to count as eating a kazayis is you cannot eat longer than the amount of time it takes to eat a half a kikor, which is 8 eggs. To have a chetzio arba beitzim, which essentially would be 4 eggs worth. Shezeu tzir of shir achila. That's the time span of the shir achila. V'imsha yozer eno achila mitztarefes. If you wait longer than that, you can't join together all of the eating. V'havalei kochel chatzi zayis hayom v'chatzi zayis l'machar. It's already like eating half a zayis today and half a zayis tomorrow, which obviously would not join together as a kazayis. Vein b'chiv kares and chametz, it wouldn't be a chiv kares. So that is the explanation of what is the time span that a person is supposed to eat a kazayas in. So in conclusion over here, the Gemara is saying that if you have these pieces and they are less than a kazayas big, unless they come from a larger piece, a lechem gadol, you do not make a hamotzi. So the Gemara now asks, my havela, what is the conclusion? What is the halacha? Amar Rav Sheshes says, Hai chavitza. This chavitza, again, the chavitza was the fried pieces of bread. Alpha gav de lesbe perur and kazayas, even though they do not have pieces the size of a kazayas, mavarich olav hamotzi lechem and arts, you still make a hamotzi against what we said before. It doesn't matter, you still make a hamotzi. Amar Rava says, v'hu de'iko aleh torisa dena'ama. There is a condition. The condition is that it should still appear and it should still look like bread. The Gemara now concludes the Yaman with a few halachas of different kinds of bread. So the Gemara says, Truknin chayav and b'chala. Truknin, which we'll explain in a moment, are chayav and chala. V'chiyasa Ravan Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Truknin peturim in achala. However, when Ravan came, he said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that it's actually pater from chala. My Truknin, what is Truknin? Amar Abaya kuva da'ara. He says it's kuva da'ara. Rashi explains, kuva da'ara. Osa makam chalal b'kira. You make like an empty space in the oven. And you put in there water and flour, the same way you'd basically fry it in a pan. So it's kind of like a fried flour and water, a fried kind of bread. And there's a machlokas over here whether it's chayev or pater in chala. Gemara now says trisa peturim in achala. Trisa is pater from chala. My trisa, what is trisa? Ika diamri gevil mersach. Some people say it's gevil mersach. Rashi explains gevil mersach. Nosnim kemach umayim bekli. You put some flour and water in a utensil. Uvochshin bekaf. You stir with a spoon. V'shovchem alakir, and then you pour it over the oven. Kishini sakas when it's hot. So the idea basically would be you're like frying up again. You're frying up this flour and water as you're pouring it over the oven. That's one opinion of what trisa is. Another opinion is nama de hindika. Rashi explains here. Nama de hindika botzek she'ofen b'shvud. It's basically you take dough and you bake it with a spit. Umoshchena so tamen b'shemen, and you're constantly pouring oil over it. Open may beitzim b'shemen, or you'll use eggs and oil. So again, this would be pater from challah. Would not be considered like normal bread. And then finally, v'ika de'amri. Some people say, what is this trisa? Lechem ha'asur the kusach. It's a bread that is made specifically to use in a dip called kusach. Rashi explains, ein oven oso b'tanur ela b'chama. This is a bread that was not baked in an oven, but baked in the sun. And again, that would also be, according to this, pater from challah. Tani Rabbi Chia taught lechem ha'asur lekusach pater min challah. Again, lechem, bread that is made for kusach, is pater from challah. Avahatanya, the Gemara asks, chayav b'challah. The Brisa says that it's chayav in challah. So the Gemara says, hasam k'nektani taima. That Brisa, there's a specific reason given. Rabbi Yehuda says, ma'aseha mochichin aleha. The way you made it demonstrates that it should in fact be chayav in challah. Asan, and the Gemara will continue with how it demonstrates that it should be chayav in challah on Daf Lamed Ches Amud Aleph.